What does the historian do but look back from the burst of the fireworks along the thin, burning trajectory of the idea? History is the ripples ideas cause, skipping across time. In 1857, a retarded farm boy, having seen his grandfather once revived by the stick of a needle, hammered the contents of his mother's pincushion, silver nail by nail, into the comatose old man, who, at the point of death, sat up and cried, "This corpse, left for dead, is now alive, tingling with the fires of God." And, of course, died. But smiling fondly at the boy, ecstatic in his knowledge that the hammering, the whanging of his flesh, like a plank dancing under the hammer of the carpenter's son, vibrated, like all acts of providence, however painful, to the force of love. A sonnet hardly seems the thing to speak of love with, except some pathetic, weak, and academic agape. There's too much analyzing must go on for true passion to catch fire. Too much oblique is said. A song of love should fairly reek with musk, the sweaty slap when hot flesh meets hot flesh. It should be sticky wet and sweet. The rhythm ought to rise like what we seek in love's close clutches. It should squeal and coo in spondees, not the I am's measured beat. And reason's tired moral should not meet us at the gasping end with what is true. A sonnet ought to make love, not critique. New dumping stopped, old toxins settling out. The marriage pool clears down its watery syncline by degrees. And though no bottom can be seen, subsurface fogs of old debris are thinning, and the bleach remains no longer float up unsuspecting as we kneel through our reflections to appall. And though no slick and slender trout survive, the smaller flora, once thought dead, now thrive in water where the gray-green mat of algae bloom once choked all life. Sunk, murky deep, old poisons stratify, worst lowermost, and animosities too hard to soften or decay lie thickly covered by the bottom's muck. Still, if we do not stir by the intensity of thought or thirst the bottom sediments to rise with their contaminants, we may, if we drink shallow, still drink sweet. I was your friend before love, before I was your lover. I was your friend before love, and always have been after. Through dark and through delightful, my rages notwithstanding, nor when I was neglectful, through pouts and sulks and ego. I was your friend before love, and will be also always, as I will be your lover when passion's mostly memory, And we rock like old spinsters on ocean-facing porches, who have been friends forever, but bicker over who did what when we were younger than we can quite remember. I was your friend before love, before I even met you. Before you were, I loved you, as I will love you always, my best and only friend. You can tell by the snarls and growls that the werewolf is scrubbing the tub. Now, the toilet he will not clean, some part of him still being man. Not even when he's contrite for having been out all night and coming home smirking at dawn, toilet bowl stained and stinking. It's not that he minds the smell, or that he's the least bit queasy. And besides, the werewolf's wife knows that he's sunk his snout into things even he wouldn't care to repeat. So he spares her those lies, and by compromise he will clean the sink and the thing where the toothbrushes hang, if pressed by his wife, or cajoled, or told only he has the arm strength to do it. And at times, in the grip of grief, over bodies left lying behind in the staggering, slavering night, he will scrub, if directed, the porcelain tub bone white. Now, it's true, if he lived alone, he still would scrub the big bone dish and the little. At least when the tub turned black, or the oft-dropped hairs formed a mat that made the shower collect as a bath to at least his knees. But now he does it to please, and to keep his mind off the moon. You must wait until your business mind has closed down for the day, and the lights have been off long enough for the rodents and small mammals to come out of the tree line at the back of your eyes. And you will feel them moving like shadows on your perimeter, darker shapes against the dark. Everything looming, you have to let them put their noses to your chest before you can grab them by the throat. There are no tricks. No shortcuts. You must grab, hang on, wrestle, and subdue. Or if you miss, lay yourself down again in the meadow of your mind. Slit another blood scent from your chest and wait, listening to the crickets and the stars. The brown Audi, like an eggshell cracked by a meticulous cook, the open ends placed one behind the other. How thin the metal is. And on the hill, by the big boots of the hick fireman, a black and red checkered blanket. And beside it, a smaller one, yellow, like a splotch of yolk spilled in the separating of the shells.
The reader will not sit still.
Or nail him tight to the chair with images sharp, through his hands and his feet, up through the seat, and bend the blood-blunted points around like a hoop, and hammer them down.
The reader will not sit still.
Plait his hair to the chair, where the leather lies frayed in autumnal braids. Tie alliterative knots near the nape of his neck. Wrap him round with unbreakable hoops of sound.
The reader will not sit still.
Tilt the chair while he's tied, and bore with metaphors drill holes for the bolts to go through. When they're fast, take what's implied, snake that ligature's noose hanging loose over his head, and pull it tight.
The reader will still not sit still. The reader will not sit still for poetry.
Turn on the TV. The room is stale with waiting. It might be a hospital or airport, we can't tell. Flat faces poised for grief officially to come. The camera loiters there to sell the agony of children lost, the tears of the survivors, a bit of blood, the bodies carried in a bag, the fears confirmed, the tragic consequences of flood, fire, murder, or disease. Tragedy in any form will do. Some private hell we can intrude upon. Some bloody smears red on white walls, drying brown as mud. We watch the flaming house, the father's pain. When did we get so hard to entertain? Surely, of all the heavens there must be, poets for their suffering must have one, where poems are not given away free to anyone who take them, but are done on gold plates, set in public parks, where no paint can vandals come, where on soft grass young lovers lie and read between love's throes, where kings remove their crowns when poets pass, where readers line the street for miles to see a poet in his car drive by, where puns are cheered like touchdowns, and sports pages show who leads the league in images amassed, where sonneteers like quarterbacks are paid in stadiums where poetry is played.